Hey everybody, welcome back. A few weeks ago, I released part 1 of my 4-part series of low-level Ironman tips and tricks, and today we're covering the second set of 15 tips. Let's get to it. Tip number 1, safe spotting. You can fight high-level enemies a lot earlier than you think. Although you won't have protection prayers until at least level 37 prayer, many enemies around Gielinor, including 75% of the quest bosses you'll fight, have some form of safe spot, where you can stand behind an obstruction and attack them freely without them being able to reach you. The great thing about this is that most monsters that don't cast magic have level 1 magic and no magic defense, meaning your spells will be very accurate against them, even if your accuracy itself isn't the best. Number 1.33, make use of the flinching mechanic. There's also a mechanic called flinching, where you can run out from behind a spot that you wouldn't otherwise be able to safely attack from without putting yourself in harm's way, attack the boss, and then run back behind the safe spot, wait for their health bar to disappear, and then rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. If you don't wait until their health bar disappears and attempt to attack them again, they'll be able to hit you before you can get back to safety. Note that not every boss has one of these, but for quests like Shadow of the Storm, Dragon Slayer, Fairy Tale Part 1, and Troll Stronghold, flinching can be very useful. I did have one weird situation where, during the Fairy Tale Part 1 boss fight, I was able to repeatedly flinch the Tanglefoot without waiting for its health bar to reset, without taking damage in response, but I think that's because I had pulled the boss to the edge of its wander radius. Number 1.67, make use of the retreat mechanic. Speaking of wander radius, there's also a method involving the retreat mechanic, which forces an enemy to moonwalk directly backwards if you attack them from outside of their wander radius, sometimes called aggro or leash range in other games. The method here is, if you can force them to retreat directly into an object or corner, you can continually mage or range them from a distance without them moving at all, as they'll be stuck in that retreat phase but with nowhere to go. Note that if you do move back into their range, they will try and attack you again. Make sure you're aware of this, as when doing quests like Troll Stronghold, where you have to fight a troll general that can hit up to 38, you'll want to maintain your distance. Number 2, boosts are your best friend. There are a lot of player-made boosts obtainable through cooking or spicy stews, but when you only need that little bit of extra boost to reach that next milestone, there's several miscellaneous options you can make use of. For example, Wizard's Mind Bombs are very helpful in getting those last 2 magic levels to reach that next teleport or utility spell, and if you happen to have over 50 magic, you'll get a +3 boost due to how the formula works. You can either buy them one at a time from the pub in Falador, but that requires going through a few dialogue options, so it's best to buy them in bulk from the pub in Berthorpe. Just take the Games Room minigame teleport and head south to the pub. Another example are Dwarven Stouts, also purchasable in singles from Falador or in bulk from Berthorpe, and they boost mining and smithing by +1. You can also pick them up for free in the Dwarven pub inside the White Wolf Mountain tunnels after completion of the fishing contest quest. I myself made use of this boost on my Ironman at level 39 mining in order to mine the gold ore on Cramjus Peninsula for the easy diary task. Note that you also get 2 mature Dwarven Stouts, normally obtained through a very arduous and anti-fun brewing system, as a reward from the Forgettable Tale of a Drunken Dwarf quest. These give you a +2 mining and smithing boost instead. Boosts for skills like crafting and thieving are harder to come by, but there's an interesting and unique NPC called Stankers at the coal trucks west of Sears. You can talk to him to get a poison chalice for free, which, when consumed, has 7 possible effects, 2 of which give a +1 crafting boost, and 2 of which can give a +1 thieving boost, although a little less reliably. As a note, I have no idea if all 7 effects have an equally possible chance of occurring, or if some are weighted higher than others, as there's no information for that online. I've tweeted at Mod Ash, we'll see if he responds. Hello, it is me, a friend from the future. So I got a response from Mod Ash regarding the 7 possible effects from the poison chalice, and it turns out that they in fact do not have an equally possible chance of occurring, and in fact there is quite a disparity. However, besides the healing effect, the crafting and thieving boosts are actually the next highest chance of occurring, so that's pretty good. Otherwise, for thieving, the only other +1 boost available is buying a Bandit's Brew for 650 coins from the Bandit Camp pub in the desert. If you happen to need more than a +1 boost, you could also do the Sorceress Garden minigame in Alcarid in order to get squirt juices that give a +2 to 4 boost depending on the tier of juice drink. Recall that the special attack of the ancient mace you receive from the Another Slice of Ham quest can boost your prayer points beyond the maximum based on whatever damage you hit with the special attack when you use it. And they won't drain passively over time like other skills, only when used. Although it's a one-time thing, this boost can actually be really helpful in bypassing the level 47 prayer requirement for the Rumdeal quest. After completion of the Death to the Dorgeshan quest, Oldak in the northwest corner of Dorgesh Khan has a random chance of either boosting or lowering your magic or runecrafting levels by 1 or 2. The runecrafting boost is unique, but unless you can very quickly teleport and run to whatever altar you're trying to runecraft at, I think it's a little too unreliable of a boost, but it does exist. Number 3. Discussing early melee weapons. Somewhat related to the boost tip, the first special attack weapon we're able to get that also happens to boost defense by +8 is the Excalibur from the Merlin's Crystal quest. As mentioned, it's the first special attack weapon available, plus it's a decent melee weapon prior to obtaining the Rune Scimitar, having similar stats to an Adamant Longsword, albeit with 6 less strength bonus. Speaking of the Rune Scimitar, it's been a few years since the Arania or ZMI altar was released, but I've spoken to a few people recently who didn't know it even existed. The altar itself isn't important here, it's the safe spottable Zamorak warriors inside of it. The Zamorak warriors have a 1 in 50 drop chance for the Rune Scimitar versus the classic Fire Giant's 1 in 128. That itself speeds up the grind immensely, but the cherry on top are the Rune Dagger drops as well as the 80% chance to drop 100 coins each kill, making it very easy to recoup the cost of runes used to kill them. Of course, after that it's in your best interest to complete Monkey Madness by the time you get 60 attacks so you can use the Dragon Scimitar, which has about 50% higher strength and attack bonus than a Rune Scimitar. Number 4. Fast travel from Shantae Pass to Port Sarim. An old, but still lesser known and still relevant method that also works in free-to-play is to go to Shantae Pass and tell Shantae that you're a bandit. He'll throw you in jail and offer you your freedom for a measly 5 coins. Refuse his offer twice and you'll be teleported to the maximum security Port Sarim jail, where you can easily picklock the door, note that no actual picklock is needed, and continue on your way. It's a nice free teleport that saves a bit of time from having to run from Lumbridge to Port Sarim or even Rimington in the early game. Number 4.5. Utilize the Pest Control teleport to get to Port Sarim faster. A quicker option of getting to Port Sarim once you reach 40 combat is to minigame teleport to Pest Control and take the boat to Port Sarim. Easy peasy. Number 5. Utilize minigame teleports whenever possible. Since I brought up the Pest Control teleport, it's important to mention that minigame teleports should be used to get around as much as possible prior to getting Law Runes. Even then, I'm of the opinion that they should be used just as often in order to save on those Law Runes, as they are a scarce resource in the early game unless you specifically grind out the gold to buy them. The best part is that most of these have either no requirements or very easily achievable ones. There's a lot of them, so let's just cover a few useful ones. The Castle and Clan Wars teleports are very close to a bank and have no requirements. The Nightmare Zone teleport is close to Yanil, but requires completing 5 quests whose bosses reappear in the minigame. But the Fishing Trawler teleport only requires level 15 fishing and is close to the Nightmare Zone, so you could use this minigame teleport to get to the area earlier on. The Blast Furnace teleport in Keldagrim only requires starting the Giant Dwarf quest, and it opens up a teleport to Keldagrim and the Fremennik region as a whole. And then there's the Barbarian Assault teleport. This one is mainly useful for getting to the region quickly before unlocking spirit trees, as well as for picking up planks for quests and early construction training, and to do the Waterfall quest, which gives a boatload of early experience. Number 6. Prioritize unlocking as many travel methods as possible. Related to utilizing minigame teleports, it's in your best interest to unlock as many travel methods as possible as soon as you can. Otherwise, you're going to be doing a lot of walking until you level up your agility. Here are some of the most helpful teleports you can unlock early on to help speed up your travels. The Easy Tier Ardoin Cloak gives you infinite teleports to the monastery south of Ardoin, allowing for quick access to that whole region of the world early on, as well as a nearby fairy ring once those are unlocked. Speaking of, unlocking the fairy ring system is one of the most helpful things you'll do in the entire game. It opens up a host of new areas to teleport to that would otherwise require a lengthy run, and several of those locations are also near cities or hotspots you already have teleports to, so instead of using Law Runes or teleport charges on jewelry, you could utilize the fairy ring system when traveling. The Chronicle is an equipable book representing a phoenix rising from the ashes of Jax's failed Hearthstone clone endeavor, purchasable from Diango and Draenor for 300 GP. Teleport cards can be added to it and are purchasable in bulk for 150 GP each. When activated, it teleports you outside of the Champions Guild, which is amazing for several reasons. It allows for quick access to Varrock. There are clay rocks nearby, making for easy collection as many quests and activities require soft clay. There's a bush patch nearby, as well as a hops patch, a quick run to the southeast. It's right by the canoe system, if you need to take that to Edgeville or the Wilderness. And it's right by Gertrude's house, so whenever you trade in your cat for death runes later on, you can immediately teleport to go get a new kitten. Speaking of the canoe system, there are 4 tiers to it, and each tier unlocks a further stop along the route. The last of which requires level 57 woodcutting and can take you to the Wilderness, popping out by the Black Chinchompa hunting ground. Way early on, and in particular when I wanted to save law runes or 150 GP for a Chronicle card, I found canoes very helpful in getting to Gertrude's house, Varrock, Barbarian Village, and Edgeville. Simply pull out an axe from the bank, home teleport to Lumbridge, and run to the canoe on the other side of the river. Spirit Trees and Gnome Gliders are 2 other sets of amazing transportation systems you get early on through helping out the Gnomies. Completing the Tree Gnome Village quest unlocks Spirit Trees, which you can take between the Gnome Stronghold, Tree Gnome Village, Grand Tree, Feldup Hills Hunter area, and just southwest of Ardoin. Way later on, you'll unlock the one in Prifddinas, and once you get at least 83 farming, you'll be able to plant your own. Completing the Grand Tree quest unlocks the Gnome Gliders, which can take you to the Gnome Stronghold, Karamja, Alcarad, White Wolf Mountain, and by the dig site near Varrock. However, that one only goes one way, as it crash lands. The White Wolf Mountain location might seem strange, but it does have a few uses. It's right next to the White Pearl Fruit, which is needed for the Mountain Daughter quest. There's an Emote Clue location just south of it. The Griffin Grimnash is somewhat nearby, if you wanted to take this route to talk to him during the Grim Tales quest, as opposed to running from Taverley. And the entrance to the Ice Queen's lair is nearby, whom you have to kill for ice gloves for the Heroes quest and several other uses. They're also great for Fashionscape. Completing Ghosts Ahoy will reward you the Ectofile, which teleports you to the Ectofuntus. This is great as it's the first teleport available in the Mortania region. It only takes 1 click to use and automatically refills itself upon arriving. It's near a farm patch, which itself is near a fairy ring, and it can be used when training prayer at the Ectofuntus to speed up the process. The Caret's Memoirs book is an equipable book with a +1 prayer bonus that you initially receive when completing the Client of Corin quest, but what's great about it is that completing every Zaya house introduction quest gives the book a new teleport location to their respective house, along with 8 free teleport charges. Later on, additional teleports can be added by bringing 1 Law, Body, Mind, and Soul rune per charge to the old memorial north of Land's End on Zaya, west of the Woodcutting Guild. Number 7. Skip the grueling early game by questing. This tip probably should have gone with the questing tip in the previous video, but oh well. RuneScape, like all MMOs, have incredibly slow early games, so unless you're new to the game and or want the nostalgia of training on cows and chickens in Lumbridge, you'd be wise to skip the grueling early game by questing. For example, you can get from 1 to 29 smithing by just doing the Knight Sword quest, you can get from 1 to 30 attack and strength from the Waterfall quest, up to 25 health from Witch's House, 9 rune crafting from the Abyss mini quest, 9 Slayer and Hunter from the Varrock Museum Natural History quiz, and one of my favorites is you can get from 1 to 31 defense and 1 to 28 prayer from just doing the Holy Grail quest alone. That's insane. And keep in mind, these were only several of many available options, so get to questing. Number 8. Collect Snapegrass on Zaya. Before being able to farm Snapegrass at 61 farming, you're going to need a way to farm some in order to make prayer potions. Most people probably know the old ways of collecting it, either on the peninsula near the Crafting Guild or on Waterbirth Island. However, a better spot exists on the peninsula by the Vinery on Zaya. There are 10 Snapegrass spawns here, and it's a short run to the Vinery Bank, making it the fastest option in the early game, especially considering that by the time you pick up the last Snapegrass, the first ones have already started respawning. The fastest way to get here would be to use the Xerix Glade teleport on the Xerix Talisman and then run east. But if you don't happen to have that, as it's a 1 in 250 drop from Lizardmen, you could just use the Karet's Memoir's Lunch by the Lancaliums teleport and run southeast. Number 9. Always, always, always have a kitten growing. Doing the Gertrude's Cat quest rewards you with a kitten, which can be raised for 3 hours of in-game time before turning into a cat, which you can then trade to civilians in West Ardoin for 100 death runes, or 200 if you've completed the easy tier of the Ardoin diary. Getting a quote-unquote free 100 or 200 death runes every 3 hours is amazing. Plus, you'll start getting them long before you'll have access to the spells that use them, meaning you'll easily be able to stockpile over 2,000 by the time you need them. You can also combine trading in your cat with selling random junk to the West Ardoin General Store, which we'll discuss in a couple minutes. Number 10. Karambwanji, the only food you'll ever need for your cat. Speaking of kittens, one of the best things you can do for yourself to A, save on inventory space, and B, make sure you always have food for your kitten, is to get level 5 fishing and go to Karamja with a small fishing net where you can fish up Karambwanji. If you have fairy rings unlocked, code CKR will take you directly south of the fishing spot. Normally used as a form of bait to fish up Karambwan, Karambwanji are one of the only stackable fish in the game. You don't need to start any quest to get them, and you get several at a time, making it very easy to stack up hundreds or thousands to always have some available. Number 11. Bonus tip. Join a clan chat, even if you don't plan to talk. Okay, fine, I'll make the bonus tip Osrs related this time, but I hope you appreciated the one in the first video. Unless you have an aversion to your chat always scrolling, it's helpful to join a large clan chat such as Ironman CC, though it can fill up often depending on the time of day. By and large, people are very friendly there, and you can be as active or inactive as you want, because there's a lot of tips and tricks you'll learn just from seeing people chat and ask questions. And if you're a lot further into the Ironman game, the clan chat is also helpful as other Ironman or even standard accounts will come in to call out Dragon, Lucky, and Crystal Imp locations, though you'll have some competition to race against. Number 12. Sell your junk to specialty shops. There are a few specialty general stores around RuneScape that offer better deals than others. For reference, standard general stores buy items at 40% in-game value, aka low alchemy price, but there are 4 specialty shops that provide higher payouts. For instance, the West Ardoin General Store will buy items at 55% item value, which is 37.5% more than a normal general store. So, when training your cat in for death runes, you could just pull out whatever random junk you've got sitting in your bank to make a little extra cash while here. The Rogue's Den General Store requires 50 thieving and 50 agility, but it buys items for 60% item value, aka high alchemy price. There is a general store in the Bandit Camp in level 23 or so Wilderness that will also buy items for 60% value, but keep in mind you're at danger from the bandits nearby as well as player killers. And the last one is on Karamja. That shop will buy items at 60% value with any tier of Karamja Diary gloves equipped, but without the gloves, it acts as a normal general store at 40% item value. Number 13. Sell your spare enchanted amulets in Brimhaven. Pretty much every Ironman money-making guide mentions thieving from hand storerooms and then selling the jewelry to Grum's Golden Exchange in Port Sarim as it buys from more than other shops. But you can make even more money off of just your amulets by enchanting them and selling them to Devon's Amulet Store in Brimhaven. And even more on top of that by wearing any tier of the Karamja Diary gloves. For example, a Sapphire Amulet sells to Grum's Gold Exchange for 630 GP, while an Amulet of Magic sells to Devon's Amulet Store for 810 GP, or 900 with Karamja gloves equipped. Cosmic runes only cost 50 GP from rune shops, so you're still making plenty of profit, and it only scales higher at higher tier amulets. For example, a Diamond Amulet sells for 2,467 GP in Port Sarim, but an Amulet of Power will sell for 3,172 in Brimhaven, or 3,525 with Karamja gloves equipped. That's a huge amount of money in the early game that you're missing out on for just a little bit of extra time spent. Number 14. You can take the boat from Ardoin to Rimington. Although it's been out for nearly 3 years, I'm not sure that everybody has found out yet that you can take the boat from Ardoin or Brimhaven to Rimington now, making it a lot easier to get there prior to getting level 40 magic for the house teleport. This is helpful early on for doing Witch's Potion, part of Dragon Slayer, going to the crafting shop, visiting the bush patch, and it's especially useful when visiting the chemist during the biohazard quest, as you have to carry samples that are destroyed if you teleport while carrying them. Hardcore Ironmen could also take the boat from Remington to Ardoyne if they didn't want to risk using the wilderness lever in Edgeville. Number 15, you can get kudos and experience lamps from Historian Minus. After completing certain quests, you can talk to Historian Minus upstairs in the Varrock Museum, and he'll reward you with kudos. Kudos are important because you need at least 50 for the Varrock Easy Diary, 153 for the Hard Diary, and 100 in order to do the Bon Voyage quest, which rewards access to Fossil Island. On top of the kudos, if you complete Shield of Arav, Merlin's Crystal, and Making History, Minus will reward you with a 1000 experience lamp for each quest. And, once you get the Ring of Visibility during the Desert Treasure quest, you can complete the Curse of the Empty Lord mini-quest and talk to Minus for more kudos and a 10,000 experience lamp. Number 16, you can get experience rewards from the Information Clerk. Doubling down on the kudos, after reaching certain kudos milestones, you can talk to the Information Clerk on the main floor of the Varrock Museum for some experience rewards. At 51, you can get 1000 mining experience. At 101, you get 2500 crafting and mining experience. And at 151, you get 4000 crafting, hunter, prayer, slayer, and smithing experience. And there you have it, part 2 of 4 of my low-level Ironman tips and tricks vids. As I mentioned, we've got 2 more coming out, so feel free to subscribe to stay tuned for those. If you've got any suggestions or low-level tips you'd like me to add in, please feel free to comment as well. Thanks again, everybody. See you next time.